Welcome to Artificial Fictions. We post new scary stories every day written by artificial intelligence. I hope you enjoy them. Once upon a time, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, there lived a peculiar and unsettling figure known as Mr. Jenkins. He was the epitome of the creepy neighbor, always lurking in the shadows and casting an eerie presence over the entire street. With his hunched back and sunken eyes, Mr. Jenkins appeared to be a relic from another time. The townsfolk whispered rumors about his past, tales of dark rituals and sinister dealings that sent shivers down their spines. Yet despite their unease, they couldn't help but be drawn to the enigmatic allure of the mysterious neighbor. Every night when darkness draped the neighborhood, Mr. Jenkins would emerge from his decrepit house. Clad in tattered clothing and clutching a weathered journal, he would wander the streets, his steps eerily silent. His gaunt figure seemed to glide through the night, leaving a trail of unease in his wake. The neighborhood children were particularly intrigued by Mr. Jenkins, simultaneously fascinated and terrified by the man's enigmatic presence. They would dare each other to peer into his overgrown garden, where twisted, gnarled trees seemed to whisper secrets in the wind. One summer evening, a group of daring youngsters decided to unravel the mysteries of Mr. Jenkins once and for all. Armed with flashlights and fueled by a mix of curiosity and trepidation, they crept toward his house, determined to uncover the truth behind the whispers and rumors. As they approached, the air grew colder, a tangible sense of foreboding enveloping them. The rusty gate creaked open, as if inviting them into a realm of darkness. Heart pounding, they stepped onto the overgrown pathway, their footsteps muffled by a carpet of fallen leaves. The house loomed before them, its broken windows and dilapidated facade reflecting the eerie moonlight. Swallowing their fear, they pushed open the creaking front door, their flashlights casting trembling beams into the abyss within. The air was heavy with a musty odor, and the children's whispers echoed through the desolate halls. As they ventured deeper into the house, they stumbled upon a room unlike any they had seen before. The walls were adorned with faded photographs and peculiar symbols etched into the wood. In the center of the room stood a massive oak table, covered in candles and strange objects, and there, sitting hunched over, was Mr. Jenkins himself, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling mix of excitement and madness. The children froze, their breath catching in their throats. Mr. Jenkins slowly turned his head, a twisted smile stretching across his weathered face. His voice, a raspy whisper, cut through the silence, sending chills down their spines. "You've come seeking answers, haven't you?" he croaked. "Curiosity may have brought you here, but beware, for some secrets are best left buried." The children stumbled backward, their hearts pounding in their chests. In a frenzy, they turned and fled from the house, their flashlights casting long shadows behind them. From that day forward, the neighborhood children avoided Mr. Jenkins like the plague, sharing tales of their terrifying encounter with the creepy neighbor. The once close-knit community grew distant and wary, living in the constant shadow of fear that Mr. Jenkins had cast upon them. Years passed, and Mr. Jenkins remained a menacing specter within the neighborhood, his presence a constant reminder of the horrors they had witnessed. The once vibrant streets fell into disrepair, a reflection of the lingering darkness that had taken hold. To this day, the legend of the creepy neighbor haunts the town, a reminder that behind the closed doors of ordinary houses, the unimaginable can lurk. The tale serves as a chilling cautionary tale, warning of the dangers that can reside within the seemingly ordinary facade of a neighbor. The townsfolk, forever scarred by their encounter with Mr. Jenkins, grew more vigilant and cautious. They locked their doors at night, peering through their curtains with wary eyes, always on the lookout for any signs of the sinister neighbor's presence. But even in their newfound vigilance, they couldn't shake the feeling that Mr. Jenkins was watching, his gaze piercing through their windows and into the depths of their souls. Shadows seemed to dance on the edge of their vision, and strange noises would occasionally echo through the night, sending shivers down their spines. One by one, the residents of the neighborhood began to disappear. The disappearances were shrouded in mystery, with no evidence or traces left behind. Whispers spread that Mr. Jenkins was somehow involved, his eerie presence forever linked to the unsettling string of events. Fear and paranoia gripped the community, turning neighbors against each other. Accusations were hurled, and trust disintegrated into suspicion. The once vibrant neighborhood became a ghost town, its streets lined with empty houses and an eerie silence that hung in the air. One brave resident, determined to unveil the truth and end the reign of terror, ventured into Mr. Jenkins's abandoned house. The once quiet home had become a macabre lair, filled with symbols and dark artifacts that hinted at unspeakable acts. As the resident descended into the bowels of the house, a hidden chamber was discovered, a chamber that held the answers to the haunting mystery. Within its walls lay a collection of journals, chronicling Mr. Jenkins's descent into darkness, his unholy pact with forces beyond comprehension. The journals revealed a horrifying truth, that Mr. Jenkins had made a pact with an ancient entity, trading his humanity for eternal life and unspeakable power. He had become a vessel for the malevolent force, feeding off the fear and souls of his unsuspecting neighbors. With this newfound knowledge, the brave resident set out to break the cycle of terror. Armed with ancient incantations and sacred artifacts, they confronted Mr. Jenkins in a final battle of light against darkness. The confrontation was fierce, with the very fabric of reality unraveling around them. The echoes of the lost souls reverberated through the house as the resident fought to banish the ancient entity that had possessed their creepy neighbor. In a blinding burst of light, the malevolent force was finally expelled and Mr. Jenkins collapsed to the ground, his twisted form returning to a frail and lifeless state. The curse that had plagued the neighborhood was lifted, and the darkness that had consumed them began to dissipate. With the ordeal finally over, the neighborhood slowly began to heal, trust was rebuilt, and the residents worked together to restore the once thriving community. But the memory of the creepy neighbor and the horrors they had endured would forever linger in their hearts, a reminder that evil can reside just beyond their front doors. And as the years passed, the neighborhood became a testament to resilience and unity, a beacon of light in the face of darkness. Yet deep within their hearts, they knew that the story of the creepy neighbor would forever serve as a chilling reminder that evil can wear a familiar face and lurk just a few steps away from home. Once in a secluded countryside, nestled amidst rolling hills and dense forests, there stood a dilapidated old house. It was a place of untold secrets and whispered legends, with a dark history that hung like a shroud over its decaying walls. Within this house dwelled a man named William, a solitary figure who lived alone, haunted by the ghosts of his own family. William was a peculiar and unsettling character, his hollow eyes reflecting the weight of his troubled past. His family had long since departed from this world, but their spectral presence lingered within the confines of the desolate home. Their whispers echoed through the empty halls, their mournful cries reverberating in the darkness of the night. From the moment he woke until the hour he finally succumbed to sleep, William was tormented by their restless souls. They appeared as phantoms, their ethereal forms floating through the rooms, their voices filled with despair and longing. They pleaded with him, their ghostly figures reaching out for solace, but their touch brought only cold chills that penetrated his very being. The portraits that adorned the walls seemed to come alive in the dim light, their eyes following William's every move. Their painted smiles twisted into grotesque grins, their expressions morphing into sinister sneers. Even the mirrors seemed to reflect distorted images, revealing a distorted version of himself, haunted and broken. As time wore on, William's sanity unraveled under the relentless torment. Sleep became a fleeting luxury as nightmares plagued his restless nights. Shadows danced on the walls, taking the form of his deceased loved ones, their presence an oppressive weight that pressed upon his soul. Desperate for respite, William sought solace in the ancient texts and forbidden knowledge that lined the shelves of the house. He immersed himself in rituals and incantations, hoping to break the curse that bound him to his spectral family. But with each attempt, their presence grew stronger, their influence more pervasive. In a final act of desperation, William embarked on a treacherous journey to uncover the truth behind his family's curse. He ventured into the depths of the nearby forest, where the spirits whispered secrets only the brave dare seek. There, amidst the gnarled trees and misty air, he discovered the chilling truth. Generations ago, a dark pact had been made by his ancestors, a pact that bound their souls to the house, forever tethered to the mortal realm. William had inherited this curse, an unwitting victim of their malevolent bargain. The spirits sought redemption, their souls trapped in an eternal purgatory until the curse was broken. Armed with this knowledge, William returned to the house, his determination unwavering. He faced the spectral figures that haunted him, their anguished pleas filling the air. With a heavy heart, he confessed his love for them, acknowledging the pain they had endured and the sacrifices they had made. In a moment of clarity, the spirits ceased their torment. They slowly dissipated, their ethereal forms fading into the ether. The house fell silent, its oppressive atmosphere lifting as if a heavy fog had been lifted from its rooms. From that day forward, William lived in the solitude of the old house, but the haunting had ceased. The portraits on the walls no longer sneered, and the mirrors reflected a semblance of peace. The spirits of his family, having found solace in his words, had finally found release, leaving William to dwell in the remnants of their presence. But in the depths of the night, when the wind howls and the moon casts an eerie glow, some say that the whispers of his family can still be heard, carried on the breeze. They serve as a reminder that even in the afterlife, the bonds of family can endure, even in the darkest of circumstances. As the years passed, William remained in the old house, haunted not by the presence of his family, but by the memories of their tormented spirits. He became a recluse, his existence confined within the decaying walls that held the echoes of his past. The townsfolk spoke of the mysterious man who dwelled alone, his pale figure glimpsed through the cracked windows. They whispered stories of the haunted house, cautioning their children to steer clear of its eerie allure. One stormy night, a young girl named Lily, filled with curiosity and a sense of adventure, braved the rain and ventured toward the forbidden house. She had heard the tales, but her inquisitive spirit could not resist the allure of the mysteries that lay within. As Lily approached the front door, she hesitated, a chill crawling up her spine. But her determination pushed her forward, and with a trembling hand, she pushed open the door and stepped into the dimly lit hallway. The house creaked and moaned, as if resenting the intrusion. Lily's footsteps echoed through the emptiness as she explored the rooms, each one holding a piece of the haunting past. The portraits watched her every move, their eyes following her with an unsettling gaze. In a room at the end of a long corridor, Lily discovered a collection of old journals filled with the writings of William and his family. The pages were filled with sorrow, regret, and the yearning for release from the curse that bound them. As Lily immersed herself in their stories, she felt a profound empathy for the tormented souls. She realized that the spirit sought not to harm, but to find peace and forgiveness. Filled with compassion, she vowed to help them find the closure they so desperately needed. Lily delved deeper into the mystery, researching ancient rituals and forgotten incantations. She discovered a ritual of redemption, a way to free the spirits from their eternal confinement. On a moonlit night, as the veil between the worlds grew thin, Lily returned to the old house, armed with the knowledge she had acquired. She ventured into the heart of the house, to the very room where the curse had taken hold. With a trembling voice, she recited the incantation, her words echoing through the house. The atmosphere grew heavy, and the air crackled with energy. Shadows twisted and contorted, and the spirits of William's family materialized before her. Their faces bore expressions of anguish and hope, their eyes pleading for release. Lily spoke directly to each spirit, offering forgiveness and understanding. She acknowledged their pain and spoke of the love that still bound them together. One by one, the spirits began to dissolve, their ethereal forms dissipating into the ethereal mist. Their tormented souls were finally free, released from the curse that had held them captive for so long. As the last spirit faded away, a profound stillness settled upon the old house. The weight of the haunting lifted, leaving only a lingering sense of melancholy. Lily, having fulfilled her purpose, left the house, the door closing softly behind her. Years later, the old house stood empty, its secrets buried within its decaying walls. The townsfolk spoke of the brave young girl who had faced the ghosts and brought peace to the haunted home. Lily's story became a legend, a tale of courage and compassion that was passed down through generations. And in the quiet hours of the night, when the wind whispered through the trees, some claim to hear faint laughter and the sound of a child's footsteps. They say it is Lily's spirit, forever intertwined with the house and the spirits she had set free, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, love and compassion can bring light and hope. Over time, the old house became a place of pilgrimage for those seeking solace and closure. Visitors would come from far and wide, drawn by the tale of Lily's bravery and the redemption she brought to the haunted dwelling. They would stand outside its weathered facade, whispering words of gratitude and respect for the souls that had found peace. As for Lily, she grew into a wise and empathetic woman, forever marked by her encounter with the haunting spirits. She dedicated her life to helping others navigate the realms of the supernatural, offering guidance and support to those haunted by their past. Through her experiences, Lily learned that every ghost had a story to tell, a longing to be understood and released from their eternal torment. She became a beacon of light in the realm of the paranormal, bringing comfort to those who found themselves trapped between worlds. But deep down, Lily knew that her encounter with the haunted son and his family had left an indelible mark on her own soul. The echoes of their suffering and the weight of their redemption fueled her purpose, driving her to continue her work even in the face of uncertainty. And so, the story of the creepy son and his haunted family lived on, an enduring testament to the power of compassion and forgiveness. It serves as a reminder that even in the darkest corners of existence, there is the potential for healing and transformation. To this day, the old house stands as a silent witness, bearing the scars of its haunted past. And those who dare to enter its threshold with an open heart may find that sometimes the greatest horrors can be overcome through empathy, understanding, and the unwavering belief in the power of redemption. In a small town nestled among towering mountains, there lived a man named Samuel. He was an introverted and introspective individual, often lost in the labyrinth of his own thoughts. But as the days grew darker, Samuel's mind became a haunting place, a prison from which he couldn't escape. It began with subtle whispers, fleeting glimpses of shadows darting through the corners of his vision. At first, Samuel dismissed them as figments of his imagination, the product of an overactive mind. But soon the whispers grew louder, their words laced with malevolence. Night after night, Samuel's dreams turned into nightmares, vivid and unsettling. He would awaken drenched in cold sweat, his heart racing, unable to discern between the horrors of his dreams and the reality that awaited him. As the haunting intensified, Samuel found himself plagued by intrusive thoughts, images of unspeakable horrors that invaded his mind. They gnawed at his sanity, driving him to the brink of madness. He became a prisoner within the confines of his own consciousness, tormented by forces he couldn't comprehend. The line between reality and hallucination blurred. Samuel would hear his own voice, distorted and mocking, whispering words of self-doubt and despair. He would catch glimpses of his own reflection, distorted and twisted, reflecting a visage that was no longer his own. Desperate for answers, Samuel delved into the depths of his mind, seeking solace in ancient texts and forbidden knowledge. He discovered tales of cursed artifacts and forbidden rituals, each promising a path to liberation from the torment that consumed him. In his search, Samuel came across a relic, an ancient mirror said to hold the power to peer into the depths of one's soul. It was rumored to possess a malevolent force, capable of unlocking the darkest corners of the human psyche. Driven by desperation, Samuel gazed into the mirror, his own reflection staring back at him with cold, empty eyes. But as he peered deeper, he saw a distorted version of himself, twisted and contorted, consumed by the darkness that resided within. The haunting escalated as if the mirror had become a conduit for the sinister forces that plagued Samuel's mind. Shadows danced on the walls, whispering cruel taunts and promises of eternal torment. Samuel's grasp on reality slipped further, his mind an abyss of torment and fear. In a last-ditch effort to save himself, Samuel sought the help of a reclusive psychic, rumored to possess the ability to communicate with the spirits that haunted the mind. The psychic delved into Samuel's subconscious, battling the malevolent entities that had taken hold. Through their encounters, the psychic discovered the root of Samuel's torment, a childhood trauma buried deep within the recesses of his mind. The demons that haunted him were not external entities, but manifestations of his own fears and regrets, twisted and amplified by his tortured psyche. Together, Samuel and the psychic embarked on a journey of introspection and healing. Through therapy and self-reflection, Samuel confronted his past, facing the demons that had plagued him for so long. Piece by piece, he rebuilt his shattered mind, reclaiming control over his thoughts and emotions. As the shadows within Samuel's mind receded, the haunting ceased. The whispers faded into silence, and the nightmares dissolved into nothingness. Samuel emerged from the depths of his own torment, stronger and more resilient than ever before. The scars of his haunting remained etched into his consciousness, but Samuel found solace in the knowledge that he had conquered the demons that once imprisoned him. He vowed to use his experience to help others trapped within the labyrinth of their own minds, offering support and guidance to those haunted by their innermost fears. In the heart of a sleepy town stood an unassuming little donut shop known as Sweet Cravings. Its bright neon sign flickered in the night, inviting customers with promises of sugary delights. But beneath its cheerful facade, something sinister lurked. The shop was run by Mr. Jenkins, a peculiar man with a hunched back and an unsettling grin. His donuts were renowned throughout the town, addictive and irresistible to anyone who tasted them. But those who frequented the shop soon discovered that there was more to Sweet Cravings than met the eye. One stormy night, a group of friends decided to visit the shop, craving a late-night treat. The rain poured relentlessly as they stepped through the creaking door, greeted by the smell of freshly baked pastries. The interior was dimly lit, casting eerie shadows on the walls. As they approached the counter, they noticed something peculiar about Mr. Jenkins. His eyes seemed vacant, devoid of any warmth or humanity. Nevertheless, they placed their orders, oblivious to the danger that awaited them. The friends sat at a small table, their excitement growing as they prepared to savor the delicious donuts. But with each bite, an unsettling feeling crept over them. The flavors were off, strangely bitter and unsettling. The more they ate, the stronger the feeling of unease became. One of the friends, Sarah, suddenly gasped, clutching her stomach in pain. Her face turned pale and her eyes widened with terror. She screamed in agony as her body contorted, contending with an unseen force that took hold of her. The other friends rushed to her side, but their attempts to help were futile. They watched in horror as Sarah's body twisted and contorted, her screams filling the air. The donuts they had consumed seemed to have unleashed a malevolent force within them, transforming them into monstrous beings. As the night wore on, chaos engulfed the donut shop. The once friendly customers turned into hideous creatures, their bodies distorted and their faces contorted in pain. They attacked one another, driven by an insatiable hunger for flesh. Outside, the storm raged on, its thunderous roars blending with the screams of the damned. The townspeople, drawn by the commotion, peered through the windows in terror, witnessing a nightmarish scene unfold. The shop became a trap, its doors locked from within, sealing its monstrous occupants and their victims. Desperate cries for help echoed through the night, but the town's inhabitants knew that entering the donut shop would be a grave mistake. Days turned into weeks, and the once vibrant town became a ghost town, haunted by the remnants of its darkest secret. Sweet Cravings stood as a macabre reminder of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. Legend has it that on the anniversary of that fateful night, the donut shop comes alive once more. The neon sign flickers, and the screams of the damned can be heard echoing through the night. Those brave enough to venture near swear they can still smell the sickly sweet scent of the cursed donuts. The people of the town, haunted by the memory of that horrific night, warn visitors to steer clear of Sweet Cravings. They know all too well the malevolent force that lurks within, waiting for the next unsuspecting victims to fall under its spell. And so, Sweet Cravings remains a grim reminder that sometimes the most innocent and delightful places can harbor the darkest secrets, lurking beneath the surface, ready to devour the souls of those who dare to indulge. The Smith family was thrilled to move into their new house. It was an old Victorian-style home with a rich history, nestled at the end of a quiet street. The moment they set foot inside, they felt a sense of warmth and belonging. Little did they know that their dreams of a peaceful life would soon turn into a living nightmare. As they settled into their new abode, the family stumbled upon a peculiar discovery, an inconspicuous door hidden behind a stack of boxes in the basement. Curiosity piqued. They cleared the boxes away, revealing a heavy, ornately carved door with an ancient lock. Determined to unravel the mysteries of their new home, the family searched high and low for the key. After hours of rummaging through forgotten trinkets and dusty corners, they discovered a small brass key hidden within an old jewelry box. Excitement filled the air as they inserted the key into the lock, turning it with a click that echoed through the house. The door creaked open, revealing a hidden room steeped in darkness. The family cautiously stepped inside, their hearts pounding with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The room was adorned with arcane symbols etched into the walls, and a faint, eerie glow emanated from a pedestal at the center. Intrigued yet unnerved, the family approached the pedestal. Resting atop it was an ancient artifact, a weathered book bound in leather, its pages yellowed and brittle. As they gingerly opened the book, a gust of wind whirled through the room, extinguishing the lights and plunging them into total darkness. Panic set in as the family fumbled in the blackness, desperately trying to find their way out. But as they groped through the darkness, a sinister presence made itself known. Whispers slithered through the air, filling their minds with ancient incantations that chilled them to the core. A sickly green glow slowly illuminated the room, revealing a grotesque figure standing before them. It was an ancient evil, awakened by their intrusion into its hidden lair. With a voice that dripped with malice, it declared its hunger for souls, promising to claim each member of the family as its own. Fear turned into a fight for survival as the family tried to escape the clutches of the malevolent entity. They ran through the twisting corridors of their home, the walls seeming to shift and contort with each passing moment. Desperate pleas for help fell upon deaf ears as their once idyllic neighborhood had transformed into a nightmarish abyss. As the family's strength waned, they realized the only way to break the curse was to return the ancient book to its rightful place within the hidden room. With determination and bravery, they retraced their steps, facing the terrifying apparitions that lurked in the shadows. Finally, they reached the room, the malevolent entity hot on their heels. With the last ounce of their strength, they placed the book back on the pedestal, closing it and sealing away the darkness within. The room shuddered, and the house seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. Exhausted but victorious, the family emerged from the basement, their home restored to its former tranquility. The ordeal had forever changed them, leaving scars on their souls, but they emerged stronger and united. However, the memory of that hidden room and the ancient evil that had been awakened would forever haunt their dreams. They knew they had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, and their new home would forever serve as a chilling reminder of the horrors that could lurk just beneath the surface.